It is Thursday, the 25th of August, 2022. After a very, very interesting week that things have been happening in the political field, and we are here to discuss them, including the Azimio la Umoja moving to court to seek prayers to see to it that the deputy president, who is now president-elect, does not hold that title. And this and much more will be following. But before we can have this conversation, do follow through with the hashtag @InHeart, hashtag Supreme Court. And let me start with Newton Hamasi. Newton Hamasi is the spokesperson that is Democratic Party, and he's equally youth leader with the Kenya Kwanza, and is here with me. Good evening, Newton, and how are you this evening?
Good evening to you, Ellie. I'm doing great. Nairobi is a bit cold, but we are coping up. Today was an eventful day. We have had the 45 governors being sworn in, and that is a great step towards installing new leadership, the people's choices in those respective counties.
I like the fact that you are the people's choices in that statement. I don't know why you insisted on that either way. But Newton, very quickly, how many did you bag in this governor's race in terms of Kenya Kwanza?
In the governor's race, we have 24 of them. And we look forward to bagging two more. That is Kakamega and Mombasa in the Monday election, yes, that will be on 29th.
Okay, we will be looking forward to hear how far that will be doing. I equally have the African man. African man, good evening to you, sir, and how are you, sir?
Good evening. I'm very fine, quite interesting, and I can see how it's a never-ending story. I remember, as Mio said, it is not over until it's over. I'm waiting for it to be over so we can go on with the normal shows. But I'm very curious. I'm very curious what the Supreme Court will do. Now is the third time. Supreme Court was fast with the first election last time cancelled. That was against Ruto and Uhuru for Raila. The second time was BBI. Now it was against Raila and for Ruto. And right now, I don't know if the Supreme Court will be for who. So I think I'm getting my hopes in Supreme Court right now. At least it looks like an equalizer. But all in all, I'm very happy, excited to be here today. And I just want to know, when is it all over?
Well, if I ask Newton, I think he can't wait to have these events being, dusted and done. He hinted of a date, but this is something we'll be discussing later on. Let's just say we are focusing on one person in this show, and that is the former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Is he just hanging on too much? Is it time he went home, or should he keep his hopes that the Supreme Court is going to finally vindicate his statements and make him president-elect the country, Kenya? Join us with the hashtag Supreme Court. Of course, let's start this conversation. Later on, we'll be joining Godwin. So with you, Newton, you have been very, very articulate with your words, saying what has to be done and what should not be done. Is the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga holding on too much?
Eli, I think Raila Amolo Odinga is holding on too much, and this time it's his final lap. We, from Kenya Kwanza where we sit, what we have told our supporters is the road to presidency this time around is not going to be easy. It's going to take time. It's going to be a bit long. Not because Kenyan people don't want William Ruto to be the president, but because of the struggle we will face by pushing against the presidency of Raila, or the candidate of Raila Amolo Odinga. Yeah. One thing we have noticed with Raila Amolo Odinga, he does not act. And that simply makes it difficult for him or to rule the country. I wish he could borrow leaf from the governors who lost in the just concluded election, and today they peacefully handed over the powers and the reins of power in those respective counties, except Nakuru not present to hand over power to the new regime. Therefore, that notwithstanding, we wish that our supporters will be patient enough, because the process of sending Raila Amolo Odinga home is not going to be easy, and it is not going to be a walk in the park. This is a man who has caused a lot of challenges for almost all the commission chairmen. All the Supreme Court judges we have had in this country have had and listened to grievances from Raila Amolo Odinga. But one thing that is steadfast and is consistent with him is that he does not accept the ruling of this particular Supreme Court that he runs to after every election to complain for defeat or a stolen election from him. Case in scenario, in 2013, he accepted, yes, he was an honorable man and he tried his luck in 2017. 2017, the same Raila Amolo Odinga went to the Supreme Court to get recourse for a stolen election. The Supreme Court favored him. But what did he do in return? He failed to show up for a repeat election that was ordered by the same court. He came in with a lot of demands. He came in with economic sabotage, things that really led this country in the wrong direction. In 2022, we saw them. That is the outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga go to this all the way to the same Supreme Court, appealing a case that was done or was ruled by the High Court of Kenya, the Appellate Court, and now the Supreme Court. They disagreed with their concept in regards to the BBI. And therefore, again, we are here back in 2022, August, and we are still experiencing the same thing. He has gone to the courts, but if you hear the utterances of this man, you can see in him a man who does not accept defeat, a man who does not allow other people who have been elected legitimately by the people of the Republic of Kenya to lead this country. He feels that if it is not him, then no one else. And that is a selfish attitude from the candidate of Raila Amolo Odinga. And we pray and we hope that with time, with the ruling of the Supreme Court, because where we sit as Kenya Kwanza, we believe and we trust that IBC followed the law to the letter, and we were legitimately elected into government. Therefore, we believe and we hope with the evidence present in court, presented by both IBC and our end, is going to vindicate our victory that is being tainted as a stolen election.
Well, Newton, you will argue that Raila is not one man that has to give, is ready to give up. But one will equally argue Raila Amolo Odinga has earned himself that position by fighting for democracy for what we call the country Kenya. I don't know if, Matata, you hold the same opinion.
No.
Let Nelson talk. Let
Nelson talk. You can, Newton, there's no Nelson here. Newton, kindly respond.
Sorry.
And then we'll have Matasio come in.
Eli, the thing is just simple. You know, Raila Amolo Odinga is purporting to claim that any person who has fought for the Republic of Kenya or who has fought for democracy is supposed to be rewarded by the presidency. That is not the case. We are supposed to elect leaders who have a vision for this country. People who believe in changing and transforming this country to the next level. We cannot sit here and languishing in the history of democracy. Countries have grown in democracy. We have seen America, which has grown in democracy. We have seen Trump, who got a lot of votes, but he was defeated by the current president of the United States, Biden. Have we seen him going to the streets and calling all things of things and demanding that he be given a chance or something? We have not heard of that. So when a presidential candidate claims that he deserves to be president and no one else, just because he fought for democracy, this country, we don't eat democracy. Let us be factual on this. And I'm not going to mince my word, because it is about time we start speaking and telling the truth as it is. No matter how painful, no matter how ugly it is, this is a president who does not care about this country. When they say they have fought for democracy, what is this democracy? Right now, Kenyans are struggling with high cost of living. Do we need someone to fight for democracy to put food on our table? We don't need. He did his part. And that is why we are saying, if you're given a chance as a young person to to prosecute your ideas before the Kenyan people, and you're given a chance to rule. Rule and go. We have Obama in America. He did his bit and he left. So when you come here and tell us that about democracy will not put food on the table. Kenyans have matured democratically.
So what will put food on the table? Let me
Can
ask
can I
African
join in a little bit?
Yes, African
First
man.
of
Yes.
all, hey, I will start by laughing for the whole show, our listeners. First of all, I asked when is it over? That was my expectations. Another thing is, you see, we try to be very objective. But now, the situation we are in now, we are talking about Supreme Court. We are talking about IBC. But my friend, Newton, you have decided to unleash it on Raila. First of all, I'm not a defender of Raila, but I'll try to put this argument in order. I wanted to open my speech, but there are some things you are talking which are really misleading. You understand? When you say sending Raila home, Raila is home. Kenya is his home. He's at his home. So this, some of these narratives that are very poisonous, that are very misleading, that are very divisive, is what I'm going to focus on. Things like sending Raila home. Raila does not accept. Last time he failed. A man who does not accept defeat. Trump was rigged in, I told you, and we know what happened in America. Doesn't care about. You have said a lot of things which I really think they are very one-sided and very blind, my friend. It was not supposed to attack you, but it may sound like an attacking, but I just want us to be on a very normal talk. I see you are in as a supporter of the other side apart from Raila. I don't know if it's Wajakoya you are supporting, or is Ruto you are supporting, or it is whoever you are supporting. But I want to correct you. Let us do like this. We are not sending Raila home, or we are not sending Raila to State House. We are examining and scrutinizing democracy, IEBC. My first question is, in your own eyes, there was no rigging anywhere. Newton, just answer me that question. In your own experience, in your own eyes, there was no rigging anywhere.
Yes, there was no rigging. What we believe is compared
to. It's okay. There was no rigging anywhere. Then for me, it puts me on your side. So a lot of people, almost half of Kenya, believes the election didn't go well, even here in diaspora. I've had meetings here. Even the Western world goes like, it started well, but something went wrong. Now, what I want us to discuss, Newton, you and I, is what are the consequences? What I believe in, Raila is not a person who gives up when it comes to rights, when it comes to his own rights. So why do we have the court? The court is there because if you don't agree, go to court. So we should not have this narrative like Raila is doing something wrong. No, it's exercising our rights. He's exercising his rights. If he believes something went wrong, he has the court to go to. So this narrative of, oh, he's a difficult man to send home. No, this guy has fought for Kenya. And I think it is really, really short-sighted to really dismiss Raila's efforts. Even Ruto himself accepts he has done a lot. That we have to accept. So this one of trying to come and dismiss somebody with such poisonous words like a man who does not accept defeat. He's a man who does not accept theft. That's all. Raila does not accept theft.
Raila does not accept theft. Okay,
Newton
is shaking his head. Means there's something he doesn't agree with. African man. Let me bring in MK and Godwin, who have been backstage just following through. Let's hear the opening remarks. Let's have Godwin. Good evening, Godwin. Welcome to the show. And we have equally MK. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Eli. How are you? Good to see you guys. It's been a long day, rather a week. Because as you know, right now we are at the Supreme Court. I can see the show is lit, and I'd really want to come in and demystify some narrative that Matas is peddling around, because it turns it to be narratives. And Matasio, Newton said something, no one is dismissing Kenya and for democracy, as you put it. But again, it doesn't mean by him fighting for that democracy, the only reward he's supposed to get is being a president. I don't think anywhere, no one has ever dismissed that. Raila has never done anything for Kenya. Matasio, we've had the likes of Matiba. We've had the likes of Masinde Muliro. The list is so long. If all of them were to say, because we fought for this second liberation, we have to be presidents, how many presidents will we be having right now?
I cut you short.
What period?
This day I'm fire. I cut you short. No. Listen, take the word reward. It's not a reward Raila is getting. He put his time, he put his energy, he campaigned like everybody else. When did Masinde Muliro campaign for wait a minute. When did Masinde Muliro campaign for president?
Okay, we had Matiba campaigning for president. When he lost, did he force people? Did he force people?
Yeah, he lost. He's not forced. Exactly. Listen, my friend, you see, Matasio, it's not forcing people. Why do we have Supreme Court? Why do we have IBC?
Exactly.
It's exercising your rights. Listen, don't cut a man's leg. Raila has to go till the end. It is even Ukinibia. No. Listen, you cannot tell me that, accept theft. No. If I believe you still, I'll go to the highest court.
Matasio,
no.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Matasio. So in Kenya, it's only Raila whose votes are always stolen. And you see, Matasio, you're
No. It's not only Raila. A lot of people are stolen. Raila is the only one who stands up. That's the problem. Raila has been president for 3 times. Let me refresh you.
Okay, let's just hear a word from MK. MK, you're listening to this men tearing each other apart. What's your opening remarks, sir?
Eli, thanks for having me on the show. I hope you guys are having a good evening. Okay, the first and foremost thing, I believe that we have a judicial process for the consumption of the citizens. And Raila is one of the citizens. And, it is not upon us to decide whether this a person who goes to the court has a case or not. That's actually a preserve of the court. And whenever the court thinks that somebody doesn't have a case that holds, that is provided in the law, that case will be dismissed, with or without consequences. So whenever we are discussing whether somebody is rightfully before the court, and when the law provides that that kind of dispute can actually be adjudicated upon by the courts, then that person has that right. Raila has that right to go to the court. The Supreme Court is there because people are supposed to present election disputes and other disputes that the court has jurisdiction upon. So he is rightfully within his own rights as a citizen to go to the court. It is now upon the court. It is now upon the court to determine whether he has a case, whether he has presented enough evidence to substantiate his claim, and whenever there is none, there is also a remedy for that. So I believe he's properly within his rights. Whether he deserves, he should be going to the court or not, or whether he should be a president or not, that is another discussion altogether. But as to do with the court, yes, me and you can go, Raila can go.
Great.
Thank you.
So we have it that established, but the big question here is Raila holding too much to this hope of becoming president? I think Newton already answered that. Let's have it from MK.
Yes. Okay. From where I sit, Raila has had in 2017 he talked of a final bullet. He had that bullet. We know what he meant, but in my own opinion, from a political point of view, it did not stop him from vying again in 2022. So we can't say he has always had that final bullet. He has another chance before the court. That's the same way he had a chance before the court in 2017. He got the remedies that he got. He is now here in the court in 2022. But now when we look at it from the angle that maybe it could be his only last chance to be a president, if the outcome goes in his favor, then it could be true. Considering other factors which we may not have control over. You're looking at maybe you're looking at his age, you're looking at his mainly age. You know, you're looking at somebody who is he going to be in a position to again vie in 2027 if he doesn't make it this time? Then you will look at that and you think, in your own opinion, that's the way I would have my own opinion, that he may not be in a position to, or he may. We never know. We can't tell the future. We can't. Only God knows that. So he is using this chance as the very last chance. If you ask me, he knows that if he misses this chance at the court, then it will be over for him. He will have to either retire or just run party affairs from the background as a party leader, or because obviously we don't have an official opposition party in the constitution. So he may have just to run his party as he has been doing it, or retire entirely from national politics. Whatever he chooses, it is upon his own right. But I don't think he has any other chance other than this. That is why he's putting in everything. That is why he's even looking like right now he's still on the campaign trail. He knows whatever whatever chance he has is now.
Newton, people will argue, and I want also Gordon to come into this. People will argue that Raila, for the longest time, he's had a bad luck when it comes to ascending to power as president. Others will say it's because he has been very kind enough to allow others that come from behind to actually ascend into power. And something that he did for Kibaki, something that his father did for Jomo. Is it because he's been too nice and now he realizes that time is beyond him and he needs to catch up with the bus? Or is it just that some people are not meant to be the kings, but rather kingmakers? Newton.
Eli, you know, that reminds me, I just want to give you a small story. Back in high school, when I went to high school, actually, if you checked on the list of the people who are enrolled in that school, I was, I think, the last person in regards to the marks that brought us from primary school. That is from my KCPE. If you ranked all of us, I was position 350 out of 350 on the first day when we reported. But because I realized I need to put in a lot of effort, I left the school as index 1 and I scored a clean A in my final exam. So what I'm trying to say is this. Raila Amolo Odinga was the best person that this country, he was the best president that this country has missed. Because one, this is a man who, yes, knows his good.
Why are you saying missed before you can continue? Missed because he's never going to make it.
Missed because
this guy was already married. Raila killed him. He's calling me in the past tense, my friend.
Missed because for the last 5 elections, this man has lost. And as MK has said, this was his last chance to be the president of this republic. One thing I fault Raila Amolo Odinga is that he does not do his assignment well early. He knows the task ahead, but he fails to put in the energy, the requisite material, the resources that are required to win the presidency. That is why Uhuru Kenyatta came as a young person and he beat him in 2013. That is why William Ruto is here in 2022 and is beating him at his own game. Not because of anything else, but because of the aspect of hard work. Raila Amolo Odinga is surrounded by people who don't have his interest at heart. Raila, by his own stature, is a good man. He's a statesman. But the people around him are really, really misguiding him. Even right now, the happenings of Raila Amolo Odinga continuing to do campaigns, even he was in Mombasa. If you listen to the comments that old man is making, honestly, they are fully misleading. And I pity him because he's not doing it by himself. He's doing it out of the influence and pressure he's getting from the Mount Kenya Foundation, the billionaires of this country who have held captive of this country's economy to their own selfish interests. And they're pushing Raila Amolo Odinga to do things that are even unconstitutional. An example, you heard Raila Amolo Odinga say that Chebukati, in case of a repeat election, Chebukati will not hold we will not lead the IBC commission to do the repeat election. And he wanted that Cherera, who is the vice chair, to carry out the election. Does Cherera even qualify to be the chairperson of the IBC commission? No, because the chairperson of commission qualification is outrightly guided by the requirements. And one of the requirements, you must be a lawyer. Is Cherera a lawyer? She's not a lawyer. Does Cherera have 15 years of experience as an advocate? She does not have. So when Raila Amolo Odinga, in his own sense, stands up in front of his supporters and tells them that in case of a repeat election, I will not want IBC chairman Wafula Chebukati to chair the commission, and instead have the vice chair, who is Cherera, who is fully underqualified to even imagine that he can be the chairperson of the IBC to run the repeat election. Is that someone who is thinking straight? Honestly, let us be legal and let us be factual here. And I believe if there is a legal person in this particular panel, he can elaborate to us and assist us, because from my reading of the law, the vice chair cannot be the chairperson of that commission. Because one, if you can look at the requirements, the chairperson, Cherera, was picked just to balance the gender balance. It was not out of that he has the qualification to be the chairperson. Yes, African man, I'm telling you. Go read on the requirement for you to be the chairperson. If you look at the interviews that were conducted, there are 2 interviews that are carried out. The interview 1 is for chairperson of the commission, which articulates that the 2 basic conditions, the minimum requirements is you must be a lawyer, an advocate of the High Court. 2, you must have practiced law as an advocate in the country for 15 years and above. But when you are interviewing as a commissioner, those requirements are not there. So even if it is through application, none of the other commissioners qualify to be the chairperson of the commission, apart from Chair Wafula Chebukati alone. So there are some comments that are coming from the Azimio presidential candidate that are really, really, really misleading Eli. And one thing that I want to advise him, he has kept on doing the same thing repeated times, expecting different results. I know maybe his supporters, his financiers are pushing him again to come on the ballot in 2027. He is still going to be defeated because he's going to do the same thing, expecting different results.
Eli, if I may
just to jump in,
can I have
Godwin,
Godwin, can I have you? But
yes.
Godwin, as you answer, I need you to answer this question for me. Raila, Newton says the people surrounding Raila have let Raila down. Do you hold the same opinion that his foot soldiers have been working towards their gain, other than making sure that Baba actually becomes president? Answer that as you give your contribution, and then we'll have MK and African Man.
Exactly. And Newton really brought that point out clearly. And I really want to emphasize, because I'll tell you one thing, Eli. Look at the people that are surrounding Raila Amolo Odinga. He has some of the best legal. The kind of mistakes he makes, you might not try to imagine that he has the best legal minds. And I'll just take you back for a moment. Let's look at the BBI case. When the BBI case was being pushed, Raila has the best legal minds. Talk of Otienda Amolo, talk of Akina James Orengo and the likes. But what happened? They made very silly mistakes before the BBI proceeded. They rushed into the whole thing. We remember the process, everything that was happening. There was no public participation. You want to tell me all these lawyers, some of them having been part of the framers of the constitution, didn't know the mistakes Raila was making? You understand? Even after the BBI was dismissed at the High Court, after the High Court had enumerated all the 21 reasons dismissed, these people encourage him to continue going to Court of Appeal up to the Supreme Court, knowing very well, even if one of how would they then convince him to go up to Supreme Court? Let's go to the issue of IBC. Let's go to the issue of IBC. IBC has had 3 commissioners after the 2017 election, when the verification of signatures was being done by IBC, we had Chebukati and the two commissioners. The likes of Kinecharero are not there. By then, they had the quorum. But when it comes to this time of on announcing a declaration of election, now that's what they draw the line. You understand? So the people that surround Raila, these people have selfish interests. Selfish interests at the expense of Raila. You understand? Because everyone on this planet accepts and admits Raila is a nice person. Raila means well for the country, but the people surrounding him, they mislead him and then send him to Supreme Court. Because right now, Raila knows everything that he's doing. They have is going to be against him. That's why they're insisting on recount and not rerun, or rather fresh elections, because they know if they take that route, should the elections be nullified, it's going to be a very big problem for them.
Big problem if they go to a rerun or re-election. You have view, MK. You want to weigh in into this idea?
Yes, I had. I think it's Newton. I can't see his name. Actually, what Newton says, I think I agree with him on the point of having the vice chair stand in for the chairperson. Actually, it shouldn't happen by the law, because the law actually provides that the chair of the commission should be a person qualified to be a Supreme Court judge. And that is a person who is a lawyer, practicing lawyer for over 15 years competently. And that is a qualification that does not appear on the CV of Juliana Cherera. I think the first name, I got it right. And that is where now the risk comes in. Because you are having Raila castigating Chebukati in the rallies. Number one, the first thing is they are all talking about, we have a case in court, we should not be talking about it in the rally or anywhere else. But in the next sentence, they are already attacking Chebukati. And when you look at their petition, they're actually seeking a declaration or a finding by the Supreme Court that Chebukati should be investigated and prosecuted. So when you attack the chairperson, and then in your petition, you are, number one, seeking either a nullification of an election, which is likely to lead into a rerun, you are not certain that this rerun will be conducted by this Chebukati or any other chair, together, of course, with the commission and the whole body of the IBC. You are in the political rallies attacking the chair. You are not sure whether the court will actually find him unfit to hold office before the election is redone, if it shall be ordered so. Then you may be cooking your own goose. What happens if this election is nullified and we are going back to the ballot afresh? And you've been there in all your rallies, in all the places where elections has not been held, in the media, attacking the chair. And then the same chair is supposed to hold your to conduct the election. You know, out of ethics, yes, the chair will do the elections in the right way they are supposed to do it. But your opinion of the chair is out there in the public. It is out there with your supporters. You've laid it out there that you have no trust in the chair. You have your own reasons, either political or justified, whatever. We can't talk of justifications right now because we haven't actually had the final finding of the Supreme Court on whether there is sufficient evidence to warrant such claims. Then what Raila is actually doing is wrong. And somebody, Gordon talked of the person surrounding Raila. Raila is actually surrounded by senior counsel, the likes of Orengo, very senior advocates. But I think when it comes to politics, they are just all politicians. When it comes to legal matters, they will be legal, but at least they should be telling him, desist from making these kind of comments. You don't know how the direction the Supreme Court will take. You don't know the implications of these comments to the case and to your own fortunes in case there is a finding of the court that warrants a re-election or anything to that effect. So it is not proper to go that way. I would think Raila is doing this out of emotions or out of exciting the crowds. You know, he's there giving hope to the crowds, exciting his own supporters, so that at least he keeps them on toes as they wait for the final declaration of final orders of the Supreme Court. Then there is this issue that Newton said. I don't know whether it's true, but there is some eyebrows raised for the fact that the 4 commissioners actually who dissented were all appointed at the same time to make it a full commission. The commission should actually have 7 commissioners. By the time they were appointed in August 2021, the commission was having only 3 commissioners. So they were coming to now make it a full house, a full commission as the law anticipates. So legally, if you to advise a person of Raila'S status, I think you should just let him do as he wishes, because he already has lawyers around him, including his own running mate. It is not even the right thing to do. Let him mislead himself. Let him make mistakes. He has made mistakes previously. He has made mistakes since he started running for presidency. I think either some are political, some are legal. From a political point of view, I think it's better he does what he wants to. I think he better be left to run his own campaigns as he does. I don't know why he's even campaigning at this stage.
Thank you so much, MK. African man, Raila has made several mistakes, and according to MK, he does not learn from his mistakes. Do you hold the same opinion?
No, I don't hold the same opinion, because Raila is human, and human is to error, and mistakes we make, and every mistake we learn from it. You are not Raila. You cannot know what he has learned. That's a fact.
He is not learned because he keeps losing the election, according to
let's
Newton.
make one thing. Let's make one thing. According to Newton, he gets losing.
Allow me to make my statement.
Yeah, go on.
According to Newton and his friends, Raila has never won this election. According to other people with different minds, like you, African man, Raila has been a victim of stolen and irregularities in the electoral system. But he never learns. What is wrong with this student called Raila?
No. Wait a minute. The thing is this: the learning. A lot of people are saying. I had a very good argument. Somebody told me, I would vote for you, Raila, again. Tunakupigia kura hauzichungi zinaibiwa. You understand? It's a very honest thing. Even me, I would get tired to vote for him again, because what? He has not learned the tricks of stealing. That's the fact.
Wait a minute. We are not going to advocate for that, right? We are not going to say that now everybody has to steal.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying about. So because if you tell me, that's what I'm trying to tell, he has not learned anyway. Because ni kama kuniambia kila mtu anaiba, we pia iba. So Raila will not learn thefts now. But I know I told you all politicians don't trust them. So even Raila included. But now I just want to make things clear. But back to my point. I've answered. Back to my point. I think...
Before I go to your point, can I just have a quick rejoinder so that you can answer me this?
Yes.
If my memory serves me right, and probably MK and Newton may correct me, the last elections that were nullified was because there was an issue with process. Yes. I didn't hear anything about stealing of elections. So what is your point, African man?
Hey, my point.
That is something that has been implanted into Raila supporters, that he has always won and he has always been rigged out. That is now one of the problems that has, he has won from 2007, 2013, 2017. Even a winner who is very consistent loses at one point. And it's good to admit that at one point you have lost. That is now, let African man proceed. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, I agree with you. And when I came in, I told you I like to be as neutral as possible. But some things just make sense. Some things just make you see the way, because it is not only Raila himself complaining. Even we see there's already division in IBC itself. So for me, it is not whether it is not about Raila anymore. For me, it is more about, is this the way we should be holding politics in Kenya? That's my first question. Now, so for me, when I look at it, I say, let it go until it's over. Let's reach to the bitter end. Let's come and clearly see that, to be honest, Raila, this time you did not win. Ruto won clearly. No doubts a stolen vote there. No. Let us be, because some things, if you put black and white on table, and show people clearly this black and white. You cannot have another argument. But now we are always in the gray area. Last time you go, you vote, you go in, the same Supreme Court nullifies the elections. You go do it again. He said, no, we cannot do it again because it's going to be the same. It's the same way like you. If somebody says, okay, listen, this person stole from me. Okay, go do it again, but nothing has changed. So I can also imagine it is very normal to say now, why repeat if everything is the same again? But for me, this is what I want to look at. MK, I need your help here. Worst case scenario for everybody. Okay? I don't know, I've not followed the court case very clearly. But let's see, worst case for Raila. They say you did not win, go back home. As you say, send him to Bondo, as they say. It is nothing new for him. Okay? He will just go back there and he will live the way he has been living. So that's Raila. We are used to him
How
losing.
will he be living? Will he be forcing a coalition government? Will he be forcing a handshake? What will Raila be living, Newton?
That I don't know because I'm not Raila. I'm not trying to
and Newton, I'm having a problem with your mic. If probably you can check the terminals, it's really bleeding into the stream.
Can you?
Yes, maybe probably try adjusting. You know, those terminals
Can you hear me
can be
now?
very noisy.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, proceed.
Now, African man has mentioned something.
I was not finished.
Okay, okay. Please finish.
So we look at things. Worst case scenario for Raila, worst case scenario for Ruto, worst case scenario for Chebukati. What I grabbed from the court, that's why I want MK to be very close to me. Guide me as I go with this thing. What I understood, the worst case for Raila, okay, elections went well. Evidence, you don't have evidence, you are not the president. Finished. Go live your life the way you have done. You can choose handshake, you can swear yourself in, you can do all those drama again. But that is Raila. Now we come to Ruto. What I understand is there is some cases about election irregularities or election fraud and everything. So what if he is found guilty of election fraud, of election manipulation and everything? I had understood you cannot vote again for the rest of your life. So if this court case can send Ruto out of business, out of politics for the rest of his life, and put Raila there, or send both of them home, we can decide Raila did not win, everybody he ran, Ruto, you lied, you don't vote again in Kenya. How is that, Mr. MK?
In my opinion, when you say, maybe I didn't get you clearly, but you say that if what happens if the court finds that Raila did not win, and then it happens that Ruto won.
Yeah.
You know, there is also a situation where Raila did not win and Ruto won, but there was no, the threshold was not actually achieved, 50% plus one. Then you are presenting another situation where the court finds that Chebukati actually is guilty of malpractices and recommends him for prosecution, investigation and prosecution. Number one, if it finds that Raila did not win and Ruto won and achieved 50% plus one without irregularities, then the outcome is obvious, that Ruto will be declared as validly elected and Raila will be declared as having lost. Chebukati's situation in the same case is independent of that. He may still be found that, actually he may not be found if the court finds validly that there is a clear winner and a clear loser. The court should not, I don't expect that the court will find any wrongdoing on the side of Chebukati. Why? Because if the court is likely to find, the court will find any malpractices in any event, then it means if the malpractices go to the validity of the election, there is no chance again that we are going to find that somebody was validly elected. So if the Chebukati is found to have actually overseen or over presided over malpractices, there is no clear winner. There is no clear loser. There is a re-election. There is a repeat election. That is the right thing to do. Then if Chebukati is recommended for prosecution or investigation and prosecution, that is if he's found to have presided over malpractices and breached the constitution and the elections laws, then the outcome is that he will be declared not fit to hold office. and the whole election after he has been declared so will mean that the whole election is a sham. There has to be a repeat election. But now the same chair cannot preside over another repeat election. That means now that we will have to go into a process of getting another chair, or yes, another chair of the IBC to preside over the IBC, because the IBC without the chair cannot preside over presidential election. We all know that the chair is the national returning officer and is the person who is actually supposed to tally and announce the presidential election. It is like now telling us conduct a constituency election without a returning officer. That will not happen. So we have to go through the whole process of recruiting returning national returning officer. That is the chair of the IBC. That will take us time, and we can even have it going over a year after today. So the repercussions are that, and if we were to find that the chair has no wrongdoing on his part, but the election has no clear winner, then we have the chair in the office, we have a repeat election or a runoff.
Okay.
But one thing I know, I suspect, yes.
I'm more concerned. I understand. Chebukati put him out, I understand. For example, right now is to make it clear, let's call it theft, stealing, a simple one. Kuiba kura. Let's say Ruto is found guilty of stealing votes. What are the consequences?
Let me tell you.
Okay. Legally.
Allow Godwin to respond this, please. Then we can go back to Newton.
Let's be very clear. I asked MK to be with me legally step by step. Don't bring somebody else.
Okay.
Godwin is a legal mind too. Please allow him also airtime to speak.
Eli, let me just respond to that. You know, the first thing, if I need to answer that, if there is malpractice and it is found that Ruto stole the election, we may need to look at the evidence, because Ruto has not actually directly been involved in any stage. We all know that the result at the stage, at the polling station, is the final result. The tallying is done by the IBC officials at Bomas for these past elections. Then you come in and present a case that Ruto has actually stolen elections. It will really depend on the evidence. But the people who are likely to be culpable are the people who are actually handling the election directly, who are responsible for the systems, who are responsible for handling all the forms, all the materials, and everything. And you may find that Ruto is actually not one of them, even if you may find his agents culpable. And that may mean that now there is somebody else who enabled these agents to do whatever they did. And that is now an election official. And that is the person who is actually likely to be prosecuted. So there is very minimal chance that you will find Ruto directly being found to have actually stolen any.
Matasio, we'll have to reduce that line of questioning, because we are really 10 minutes to the top of the time.
Last time,
Matasio, kindly hold your horses. We really need to take this to the next level, and we have exactly 10 minutes. But before we do that, I'm expecting one more guest on set to have us breathe from these political conversations, because we are acting and behaving as though Matasio will be taking our necks out of this. Before he can come in, Godwin, if you want to put in one or two words, and then we'll actually finally invite Newton to give us another perspective of this conversation. Very quickly, Godwin.
Exactly. Matas, I want to tell you, remember 2017 elections were nullified. And the reasons were, it was because of illegalities and irregularities. Remember, Chebukati was the chair of that commission, but he's still the chair right now. So it means, as much as there were irregularities and illegalities, it did not implicate him as a person. And that's why he's still the chair. Even after the nullification of 2017 election, Raila was here. If he wanted to demonstrate, or rather the removal of Chebukati, he had 5 years after 2017. You remember, it's Isaac Hassan left IBC, courtesy of Raila. So if Raila was comfortable for all this time, he cannot now come here at the last minute and claim fall. You understand? Because if Raila refused to go for the repeat election, saying he cannot go for the repeat election with the same commission, how did he then settle on coming back to the same, to going to the general election of 2022 with the same commission. And I'll give you one reason why Raila was comfortable. Raila knew he has a system, and the people surrounding him told him, you know what, we don't care what the commission is, we have the system. And now that it has failed him, now the time he's realizing the commission was not good. Because how did he allow to go into, if he refused to go into a repeat election in 2017 because of the same commission, how did he allow himself to come to a fresh election in 2022 with the same election? And that's the dishonesty that we are trying to debunk here. We all know what Martha Karua said when they were at KSCC. She said they had tallied the forms that were on the portal and they were winning. They had a clear win. Later on, they're saying people hacked into the system and the forms were being sent to UDA first, they edit and then upload. So if they are telling UDA forms that were being uploaded by UDA, how come Raila was winning? You understand? Those are some of the questions we need to be asking ourselves, not just to follow some things blindly. And you remember when we were having a show when those guys were at KSC, I told even looking at the body language, something was not right. You know, on one hand we were saying we are winning, but the body language shows everything is not right, you are losing. So this is just whatever they're doing is managing emotions of the supporters. And that's the thing, you know, the earlier we accept, the earlier we move on. All this process, I don't know, let's go to Supreme Court, I don't know, now you've taken the case to Supreme Court and then now you're giving other demands. All that is, give us a break for heaven's sake.
Godwin wants a break, so do I. I want to allow Newton to give us probably his final remarks in this. Newton,
I think my comment
worst case scenario, yes, you lose in this petition and Raila is seen to have a case that is watertight and we recall all of you candidates back home. Do you think you will stand to win again?
From Kenya Kwanza, we maintain our stand, and our stand is this. We respect the rule of law of this country, and whoever is aggrieved goes to court to get recourse. But one thing we are saying is this. As the Supreme Court judges are going to make a ruling on this particular case, presented by the petitioners, that is Raila Odinga, could they put into consideration the following? One, that this person who has gone to seek help from the court has expectations of the outcome of this particular ruling. If this outcome does not favor him, will he be ready to accept and let the president-elect rule the country? That is the most important question that we need responded to. The other bit is this. In the worst case scenario on our end is, if the Supreme Court, of which it is highly unlikely, finds that the election was not properly done and the winner was not determined, as Kenya Kwanza, and we are consistent, we are saying we are ready to go to the ballot after 60 days as per the law. And as we go for those 60, the repeat elections, let it be known that the commission will hold the election so that the Kenyan people can exercise the constitutional right of electing their leader after a cycle of 5 years. Because what we don't want, Eli, is a scenario where the Supreme Court nullifies this election. And then from that particular step, we see the four, because it is information we have, we see the 4 commissioners resigning from the commission, just to create chaos, to extend the rule of the current president of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. And that is something the Kenyan people, African man, I let you speak. Please allow me to speak. With all due respect.
Yeah, okay.
Are you getting me? So what we are saying is, as the Kenyan people, they need to be given the sovereign power that belongs to them, to be given a choice to exercise their constitutional right of voting in the leader they want. We don't want a scenario where you're forcing a president to the Republic of Kenya. Kenyans don't want an extension of Uhuru Kenyatta presidency. And that is something that is so outrightly clear from the message of the people. You heard today the president-elect saying that as leaders, let us listen to the voice of the people. And the people are saying, we are tired with the politic. We want to move forward as a country to build our economy, to build our systems, and to put trust in them. So my
Thank you
point
so
is
much.
this: whichever way it goes, as Kenya Kwanza, we are ready to respect the rule of law and let our opponents, who is Raila Amolo Odinga and Martha Karua, be ready to accept whatever the court rules and abide by it to the latter. We don't want a scenario where an election is called, a repeat election is called, and someone boycotts or starts to create chaos in the commission to ensure that this presidential election is extended, and in return extend the rule of the current regime, Uhuru Kenyatta's presidency. Thank you.
Can I react to that?
Very heavy. I want you to react, and everyone has a minute. Let's go.
Okay, my reaction is this, with the one question. Is it illegal for Uhuru to remain in power until 2025 if the case demands?
Very illegal. It is very illegal. It is very unconstitutional.
I'm done. Illegal. Next thing. I asked a very simple question that you people don't want to answer. I asked, in the worst case scenario, if Ruto is found guilty of voting malpractice, can he campaign again in Kenya forever?
If he's found guilty, you get me? If he's found guilty, that will be a determination of the court. And as I've told you, as the Kenya Kwanza team, we are ready to abide by the law.
You are exceeding 1 minute. Matasio, you're exceeding your 1 minute.
A very simple question. If the court rules, don't talk of the court. Imagine the court has ruled. He has been found guilty of voting malpractice. Kama ameiba kura. Anaweza vote tena for the rest of his life, ama hizi. If
vote or vying, because this is
very inawezi simama tena, inawezi vai tena.
Well, I think Mr. Godwin can answer that, and we have MK too, please, because we are really out of time. I still have one guest to bring in before we end the show. Godwin.
And let me tell you one thing, Matasio. There are very elaborate ways of one being disqualified to run as a candidate for whichever position in Kenya, and it's given there. You understand? So you cannot just say, not unless, because remember, even if the court say it finds Ruto to have committed.
Skip the question.
You ask a question. Let you be
answered. We have to end this conversation, and you're not giving us the latitude to conclude it. So please, can you allow the answer to come through?
The question was
Matasio, if you ask me, yes. If you ask me, and if we were properly following the law and the spirit of the same, then a person who has been found guilty of election malpractices, especially in the context of a candidate, that person should not be allowed to vie. That is, if we are following that whole process and our systems are actually doing what is supposed to be done.
Thank you so much. Answered question.
Anybody, not only Ruto.
Great. Let me just, gentlemen, this has been heated, but we still have hope at the end of the tunnel that light is coming. But quickly, let me just join this gentleman here. I'm joined by one guy that is giving us a lot of music, one and only Bonnie Nyaga, all the way in Nairobi. Good evening, Bonnie.
Yes, hi. You can hear me?
Definitely, I can hear you loud and clear. Gentlemen are wondering why you are here.
So we are at County to County, which is in Westlands, right here in Nairobi. And today, of course, we are at the all-white post-election party. Yani watu wamesema, we've had too much elections, tumekuwa, it's been so stressful, but that's why we are here. So we are here, of course, with David. Let me look for him. So this is, if you guys remember David Major was on Tasker Project Fame back in the day. Of course, you guys saw like he's had quite a rough time. At some point he was a bit homeless and he was going through a whole bunch of stuff. But he's been through quite a journey. And today, my company, which is Mawaida, is over here sponsoring this event to make sure that basically David Major comes back into the industry. Yeah. And right now he's actually back. He's actually back there.
Yes.
Let me.
If you
I'm
can,
just walking
if you
over
can if you can pan around and so that we can be able to see
so you
Major.
can see David
There he
Major.
goes, the man of the hour, David Major. Good evening, sir. I know you can't hear us,
No, he can't
but
hear you
we'll
right
be
now.
expecting him on set.
Uh,
Will he be
so he can't
talking
hear
to
you.
us after this?
But yeah, he'll be talking to you. He's just finishing a set. Then he'll be joining me over there in just a few minutes so that he can talk about it. So basically, this is a post-election sort of party. Those guys have been so stressed. Guys have been so under so much pressure over this period. So that's why Mawaida and also Count decided, you know what, guys need to relax, Bana. As much as yes, we know politics is important. We know it's an important thing we're doing in the election. But guess what? There's more to life. And ladies and gentlemen, here comes himself, the man himself, David Major. There you go.
Okay. Good evening, David Major, and how are you, sir? Great to see you. Looking all sharp and well done with your hair.
Good.
I love it. How are you?
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I've never been better. I can't complain. Can't complain.
Oh, okay,
That
Major.
the clothing is by a new acquaintance of mine by the name of Philwell. You can find him on Instagram _Philwell. He's got a store called the Swag Clothing Store in Kasarani. You can find him online as well. He's the reason I'm looking all kinds of flat and nice.
Oh, yeah, you said it, sir. I mean,
That's right.
we have had a lot of stories going left, right, and center, but it's great to see you back on set. And definitely we'll be talking to you on radio when you go live. We'll be
Okay.
streaming this on www.blueradio.co.ke. So everybody that is watching, join us so that we can have a conversation with one David Major who is having a major comeback.
I like that.
He's having a major comeback.
Thank
So
you, brother.
maybe just let me ask you, David, what does it mean to you to get back to music? I mean, I know you love music. What does it mean for you to get back to music?
It's not even like a comeback to music per se, because it's always been music. That's the gift that God gave me, as He does each and every one of us. It was a bump in the road, like one of those wise quotes of yours. Not a roadblock, and I just needed to get something out of the way, which in my case was an addiction, so I could get back to my calling. And it means everything. It means the world. Yeah.
So you packed out, literally, you packed out county to county. I mean, I came here last week. I wasn't as busy as it is right now. As in, how does it feel to see your fans coming out and just celebrating you once again?
Man, this is why when it's sorry, defined as a calling. No, this right here is just the definition of it. Like, it's the most beautiful thing ever to experience.
Let me see if I can turn my camera around.
Okay.
No, I
You
turned it
just
off.
finished off.
Oh, I switched it off.
Now
Okay, I
you're
can't turn it
back.
around.
Now you're back. So,
Oh.
okay,
They're just gonna have to
guys,
take our
we
word
have
for
to
it.
leave you because the show is waiting for you on radio. I'll be meeting you guys in about 10 or 20 minutes from now. So let's
problem.
all get there. Stream on blueradio.co.ke. And let's
Awesome.
have a good
Awesome.
Thursday Night Live. My name is Likuyani Eli, and that is, of course, Boni Nyaga with one David Major. I said it's not a major comeback for him, but for us, it is a major comeback.
Before you leave, Ellie, I want to tell everybody who's in Kenya right now, you need to be here, man. Like Westlands, county
Not binge
to
watching movies.
county, like
Westlands Road, county to county.
county to county, and how you spell it is county. Then you put the number 2 to county,
Count.
and it'll bring you right here.
Okay, guys, get
Ellie,
your
we're
team.
missing you, buddy.
Oh yeah, I know. I wish I would have been there, but Matasio, who is the African man, wish he was even there. He has long hair like yours, and definitely he loves music and arts.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Okay, great guys, great to see you, Bonnie.
Likewise.
See you in a moment.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, that is Boni Nyaga. Boni Nyaga is an entertainment and journalist based in Nairobi, Kenya, and that is David Major. If you guys watched CPF, I don't know what season was that, but David Major was that, and he did an amazing job. As we close down from these stressful election stories, gentlemen, let's call it a night. But MK, any final words?
Yes, Ellie. I've listened, and I've had very many people giving opinions on what is the likely outcome of the petition, what are the strengths and weaknesses of Azimio's petition. But I also know that we have until Saturday for the respondents to have filed their responses. And it's my, from experience and from the reasonable thing, from what is reasonably reasonable to do, it is to wait for those replies, peruse those replies or read about them, then you can form an opinion. You never judge a case by listening to one side. You have to listen to the other side. You may be embarrassed if you make an opinion out of listening to the case, to a case from one side only. So the right thing to do, let us wait, and then we can have an opinion on the likely outcome. We have of course peruse the other petitions, and secondly, actually, personally, I have held a view that we have limited the freedom, or rather the time that the Supreme Court should have in determining these petitions. You can imagine about more than 7 petitions in 14 days. We have a pre-trial maybe on the 8th, a pre-trial conference on the 8th. We will have interlocutory applications being filed by either parties, or we will have a period to file, friends of the court to file their papers. Then we may have only about 2 days of hearing. We may have about 2 or 3 other days for the judges to retreat and write their judgments. You see, we are dealing with 8 petitions, and some of them may be consolidated. Others may not, depending on the nature and the substance in which they are actually grounded. So we are having a court that is actually very strictly bound by time.
Yeah.
And it is only a hope that the court will actually make maximum use of it and not be limited by time. When we will be listening to the judgments, we will look at read the outcomes and find that they actually tried their best. Otherwise, that time is limited, and then we also expect, we should also, as Kenyans, expect any outcome. You know, your feelings and your emotions and your affiliations may have actually nothing to do with the outcome of that case. So it is just okay to relax.
You better leave that at that, MK.
Yes, relax. Let us just relax and give our
The
lives
outcome
and
will be
wait.
there.
Yes, the outcome will be there regardless of how you feel. That is now
Okay.
that reality.
That's the reality, and we will leave this to the Supreme Court. Hopefully, Raila Amolo Odinga will not just have his last bullet, but will have a chance to clinch the presidency of the nation if the courts find it fit that he's supposed to be the one holding that president-elect certificate. For now, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming through. I know you didn't have enough time for all of us to discuss this, but the conversation continues next week right here on Art in Heart. You can follow us at Likuyani Eli, at Godwin Segero, at Matasio Kagwa, at MK Ronald, or Ronald Kavagali MK, whichever you find possible for you. Newton Hamasi, he was here with us, and he's left because he has other engagements. But let's meet on radio, because I'll be going live with one David Major, of course, with Bonnie, who are right now on location in Nairobi, Kenya, county to county. Let's have a good time, good music. Again, remember, we need one another. Quickly, let me read the comments that came in. This is Last Bullet. It's on the way. Ronald Kiprono says. Then we have Francis Njagi says, Rao is the next president. Thank you so much. Ronald Kiprono again says, give that orange guy 4 minutes. Okay, guys, that's way below the belt. Wanasema anatusumbua, hatoshi kutuongoza. Thank you so much. Lavet says, you are talking nonsense because you don't know Raila. Kweneni zenyu huko, of course, opinions are welcomed here. That's why we are having this conversation. And Dan Atsenga says, when he doesn't do anything, we in Kenya, we are going to suffer. Double in terms of appointment will be that word, two tribes. Okay, thank you so much for your comments. We can't have enough time to go through all of them, but thank you for equally contributing and making this president we want a conversation worth your 1 and 40 minutes of airtime. Until next week, join us. I'm Likuyani Eli.